Alright, so Fallout is so big at this point that even people who don't play RPGs know what it is. Your annoying cousin who only plays FIFA knows about Fallout. Todd Howard has probably convinced at least one confused parent that Fallout is a lesson on 1950s fashion. And yet something weird happened. Fallout got bigger, but it started feeling smaller. Fallout 4 had more systems, more content, more everything than previous Fallouts. But fewer people believed in its world. Cities felt like sets, factions felt like quest hubs, companions felt like features. So here's the question. What if Fallout had been made by a studio that specializes in making worlds feel real? What if Rockstar made Fallout instead of Bethesda? Because Bethesda builds sandboxes, but Rockstar builds places. The difference between a sandbox and a place shapes how a world feels. Bethesda tends to design worlds around the player. Rockstar tends to design worlds that move on their own. Classic Fallout captured that second feeling. The wasteland felt active. Shady Sands stood as a growing republic. The NCR represented expansion through law and bureaucracy. Caesar's Legion embodied unity through discipline and force. Each faction pursued survival using its own logic. You moved through those systems. You influenced them, but they possessed direction even before you arrived. Now imagine that same idea executed through Rockstar's approach. Rockstar specializes in building power structures. In GTA, gangs hold territory. In Red Dead, communities evolve under pressure. Groups compete, expand, defend, and adapt. Translate that into Fallout, raiders could form alliances. Trade routes could shift with stability. Settlements could strengthen under good leadership and fracture under stress. Instead of remaining static, factions would develop momentum. Because Rockstar worlds thrive on systemic pressure. Fallout's setting revolves around pressure. Scarcity drives conflict. Fear shapes behavior. Power vacuums invite ambition. Bethesda often communicates these ideas through dialogue. Rockstar communicates them through action. In Red Dead Redemption 2, towns grow, decline, and respond to reputation. Communities recognize patterns in behavior. Relationships deepen through time and consequence. If you apply that to Fallout, reputation would spread through stories. A trader might share news of your help. A mercenary might remember your violence. A settlement might trust your support. A different settlement might prepare defenses. Change would build gradually. Your influence would accumulate, and the wasteland would feel responsive. Cities would gain new texture through this approach. Bethesda cities often operate as hubs for interaction. Rockstar cities function as living spaces. Daily routines, conversations, and movement create atmosphere. Apply that to Fallout. Diamond City could pulse with trade and tension. Good Neighbor could carry an edge of instability. Caravans could arrive, depart, and negotiate. Local politics could shape daily life. The environment would tell stories through activity. And here's the thing about activity. It doesn't have to be dramatic to feel meaningful. A farmer haggling over water prices. A guard rotating shifts with tired eyes. A child asking questions nobody wants to answer. These moments don't move the plot, but they make you believe in the place. Bethesda knows how to fill space. Rockstar knows how to fill silence. Factions would feel grounded in interests. Rockstar excels at presenting complex motivations. Groups seek security, resources, and influence. Fallout began with that same foundation. Survival required compromise. Leadership required authority. Order required sacrifice. A Rockstar-style Fallout would highlight these realities through lived experience. Players would observe alliances forming, rivalries deepening, communities reacting to change. Instead of asking who stands as the good faction, players might consider which groups offer stability, which offer protection, which inspire loyalty. And that ambiguity matters, because in a wasteland, good intentions don't guarantee good outcomes. The most idealistic faction might be the most dangerous. The most ruthless might be the most reliable. Rockstar understands that tension. Their best stories never let you feel entirely clean about your choices. Violence would also take on new weight. In Rockstar games, violence shapes perception. Communities respond. Reputation evolves. Actions carry memory. Within Fallout, conflict could ripple outward. A fallen leader might trigger succession struggles. A secured settlement might attract new allies. A disrupted trade route might reshape regional economics. Violence would create opportunity and instability. Leadership would also unfold dynamically. Rather than resolving conflicts through a single decision, power would shift over time. A rising commander might gain influence. A weakened faction might splinter. A charismatic leader might unify scattered groups. The wasteland would reflect ongoing change. Rockstar narratives often emphasize continuity. Events influence future developments. Communities adjust. Power balances evolve. Applied to Fallout, leadership transitions could feel organic. The fate of a faction might depend on alliances, morale, and resource control. The world would continue adapting. This continuity would reinforce Fallout's core themes. Civilization remains fragile. Stability requires effort. Survival demands cooperation and resilience. Rockstar's design philosophy emphasizes environments that progress alongside the player. Bethesda often emphasizes environments that the player shaped. Both approaches create engagement. Yet, Rockstar's style aligns closely with Fallout's original tone. A society rebuilding after catastrophe thrives through interaction, through negotiation, through adaptation. Think about what that means for the player's role specifically. In a Bethesda game, you are usually the center of gravity. Everything orbits around your decisions. The main quest, the side quests, the factions, the settlements, it all waits for you. In a Rockstar game, you are one force among many. Arthur Morgan doesn't stop the Van der Linde gang from making its mistakes. He watches it happen. He participates. He tries, and sometimes that's worse. A Rockstar Fallout might ask you to operate within systems you can influence but not control. You could support a faction without guaranteeing its survival. You could build a settlement without preventing its eventual decline. The wasteland would have its own momentum, and learning to work with that momentum rather than against it would be the game. A Rockstar Fallout would likely emphasize shared survival. Communities would interact, factions would compete, individuals would leave marks through action. The wasteland would feel interconnected. Instead of presenting resolution as a final state, change would remain ongoing. Growth would coexist with tension, hope would coexist with struggle. Fallout's identity has always balanced optimism with realism. People rebuild. People cooperate. People endure. Rockstar's strengths align naturally with that balance. Their worlds showcase resilience through behavior. Their characters reveal complexity through action. Their environments express history through change. A Fallout shaped by that philosophy could highlight the persistence of civilization. Trade networks might expand. Settlements might flourish. Alliances might emerge. Each development would arise from interaction rather than design. Ultimately, the question extends beyond which studio might produce a better game. The deeper question asks what kind of world Fallout aims to portray. A responsive place shaped by communities, or a sandbox shaped primarily by the player. Rockstar's approach emphasizes continuity. Bethesda's emphasizes agency. Both are valid. But Fallout began as a story of survival within society, not survival despite it. The original games ask what kind of person you become when the structures around you collapse, and whether rebuilding those structures is worth the cost. That's not a sandbox question, that's a civilization question. A Rockstar interpretation might continue that tradition through living systems. The wasteland would breathe, adapt, endure, and in doing so, it could reflect Fallout's original vision, a civilization rebuilding, one choice and one consequence at a time.